Here's your rewritten story. Every scene and word preserved, but with smooth grammar, natural flow, and copyright-free phrasing so it reads effortlessly. They say some of life's most profound changes happen when you least expect them, like on a quiet Tuesday when you're simply trying to be kind to someone in need. That's how it began for me. One small act of generosity, one simple favor. I let someone sleep on my couch, and he ended up crashing right into my heart. My name is Jessica. I'm 34 years old and live in a small town just outside Denver, Colorado. I've been married to Jason for 9 years. We met in college, one of those whirlwind romances that feel like a fairy tale at first. He was charming, confident, ambitious. I thought I'd found the one. But, like many fairy tales, the glitter began to fade. Jason worked in finance, long hours, constant stress, and an ego that seemed to grow with every promotion. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being partners and became strangers. We didn't fight all the time, but we weren't really living either. He came home late, and we barely spoke. It felt like we were just roommates sharing a mortgage instead of a husband and wife building a life together. Then came Liam. Liam was my best friend's younger brother. I hadn't seen him in years. When I got a call from Rachel saying Liam had lost his apartment and needed a place to stay for a few days, I didn't think twice. She was in Europe for work and didn't want her brother left on his own. I told her, send him over. It's no trouble. When Liam arrived, it was like a breath of fresh air filled the house. He was 27, soft-spoken, thoughtful, and always smiling. The first night, he insisted on cooking dinner, an actual dinner, not the frozen meals I'd grown used to reheating for myself since Jason had stopped coming home before 10 p.m. And we talked. Not just small talk, but real conversations about music, the places we wanted to see, dreams I hadn't shared with anyone in years. With Liam, I felt seen, understood, valued. Something inside me began to stir, something I hadn't felt in a very long time. At first, I brushed it off. He was younger, just being polite and grateful. That was all. I was a married woman, and nothing was going to happen. But emotions are tricky. They slip in quietly through the cracks when you're not paying attention. One night, we sat on the couch watching a movie. Jason had texted that he was stuck late at yet another networking dinner. Liam and I ended up talking through most of the film, laughing and swapping childhood stories. Then, without warning, a silence fell between us. He looked at me, really looked. "You deserve to be happy, Emily," he said softly. "I hope you know that." A tear slid down my cheek before I even realized I was crying. I hadn't heard something that kind in so long. It hurt. "I used to be," I whispered. In that quiet moment, something shifted. Nothing happened that night. No kiss, no inappropriate touch. But a door had opened. Over the next few days, I found myself stepping through it little by little. Jason barely noticed Liam was even staying with us. He was always on conference calls or out late, too busy to join us for dinner. Meanwhile, Liam and I were building this quiet, emotional world inside my own home. It was innocent, but deeply intimate. One evening, after Jason left for a weekend golf trip with colleagues, Liam and I took a walk through the neighborhood park at sunset. The air was warm, the world hushed. "I should go," he said suddenly. "I've stayed too long." Panic rose in my chest. "Why?" He hesitated, then turned to me. "Because I'm falling for you, and I don't want to be the reason you break." That night, we talked for hours about what it meant, what it could mean, and what it should mean. We didn't cross the physical line, but emotionally, we already had. The following week, Jason came home early for the first time in months. He studied me for a moment. "You seem lighter," he said, almost puzzled. I didn't respond. What could I say? That night, Liam left. He gave me a soft smile, hugged me, and whispered, "Be honest with yourself." And then he was gone. The house felt emptier than it had in years. That night, lying awake next to my husband, I finally faced the truth I'd been avoiding. I was lonely, disconnected, and unhappy. Someone had reminded me what real love was supposed to feel like. It wasn't about choosing Liam. It was about choosing myself. A few weeks later, I asked Jason if we could really talk. It was one of the hardest conversations of my life. but also the most honest. I told him how I felt, how we'd become strangers, how the silence in our marriage had become unbearable. I didn't tell him about Liam. Not then. This wasn't about betrayal. It was about how lost I'd become in something that once felt so beautiful. We tried counseling. It helped for a while, but we both knew the damage was deeper than either of us was willing to repair. I filed for separation 3 months later. It's been a year now. I'm not with Liam. We exchanged a few messages, but life moved on. He gave me something far more important than a relationship. He reminded me of my worth, that I wasn't invisible, that I didn't have to stay somewhere just because I'd made a vow years ago as a different person. Sometimes love doesn't arrive the way you expect. Sometimes it comes as a guest on your couch, a simple act of kindness, or a truth you finally find the courage to face. I'll always be grateful to Liam, not for saving me, but for helping me save myself. And maybe one day, our paths will cross again.